Good evening and welcome. This is the regular Board of Education meeting, and this is Tuesday, February 10th. Roll call, please.
Mr. Kuya.
Here.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Here.
Mrs. Silich.
Here.
Mr. Salazar.
Here.
And Mrs. Gunkelman.
Here. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the school district's business. It is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. The mission of the Buckeye Local Schools is to empower students to excel in a highly competitive society. Approval of board meeting minutes. We need to separate this into two, the January 3rd meetings and then the January 13th meeting. So let's deal with January 3rd minutes. I seek a motion to approve those.
Also move.
A second? I'll second. Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Yes.
Mrs. Silich.
Yes.
Mr. Kuya.
Yes.
Mrs. Gunkelman.
Yes. A motion then for the January 13th regular meeting minutes.
So moved.
A second?
I'll second.
Questions, comments? Roll call?
Mr. Kuya.
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mrs. Silich.
Yes.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Yes.
Mrs. Gunkelman.
I abstained because I was absent at that meeting. Let's move on to additions or modifications to the consent agenda. Are there any additions?
Yes, Mrs. Gunkelman, good evening. We have just a few additions to the agenda this evening. We have two under personnel. We have an additional bus driver that will ask for approval tonight. We also have an additional paraprofessional for the intermediate school that we'll ask tonight. Those two employment decisions weren't ready when the agenda got set out last week, so I ask for the consideration to add that to the agenda this evening. And also the expedited local partnership program from the OFCC for our facility plan came through, so we have added the ELK agreement to tonight's agenda as well.
All right then, how about a motion to recommend the approval of the consent agenda with the additions?
I'd like to have the ELK agreement taken off the agenda, only because it came out yesterday, and we have not discussed it, I have not even been able to look at it, I have no idea what it is. So I'd like to do that next month's meeting.
I make a motion to approve the agenda as presented by Jeff.
Is there a second to Seth's motion?
I will second that.
Any further comments other than the one from Mrs. Salich? Roll call, please.
Mr. Kuya.
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mrs. Silich.
No.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Yes.
And Mrs. Gunkelman.
Yes. At this time, it is time for public participation. Is there anyone who has signed up to speak this evening?
Yes, we have two.
Thank you. Okay, I see that we have one person with two comments. Mrs. Whittinger.
I do have two, but I actually would like an opportunity to say three, because it's The financial situation that is being forecasted for many school districts throughout Ohio, including Buckeye, is a major reason why the new high school is fiscally irresponsible and needs to be reevaluated before an agreement is signed with the state of Ohio with the ELP agreement. As a side note, I actually wrote that before you added the ELP agreement to tonight's agenda. So when I say new high school, I now have to change that to say the new combined middle school and high school building for grades 7 through 12, which isn't the plan you presented to the community. You said it was a high school only building. I'll continue. It is impossible for me to fathom how we can anticipate saving $8 million in cash, which I see will need to be increased based on the last minute ELP agreement, in a one-year period or any time period considering the unstable future of school funding at the state level. Idea Stream, January 27th, article about Canton City Schools, $17.7 million in cuts. The Chronicle paper, February 4th, article about Elyria Schools, $9 million cuts. The Gazette, January 28th, article about Wadsworth Schools, anticipating deficit of $6.7 million growing to $16 million. The Gazette, January 26th, article Medina City Schools cites state funding challenges and student decline to evaluate long-term stability. Akron School, TV Channel 5, September 24, 2025, losing $7.7 million. Toledo Schools talking cuts. Tiffin Schools losing $1.2 million a year. Buckeye even anticipating losses. I don't want to hear all the stuff about it's the state's fault or vouchers or rising costs or we're wealthy according to the state or it's complicated. I've heard all that and it's our spending. This is an example. Here's a recap of where we are since you decided to self-fund. August 2025, the board said okay to the new project before we had an ELP agreement. Then September 2025, Treasurer Donnelly stated future loss from state funding and uncertain about actual amounts that will be affected by. Then January 2026, Treasurer Donnelly stated the same thing, future state funding losses and uncertain about those amounts. The past 1.5 months, 7 other schools publicly announced future losses and making major budget cuts. Today, February 10, 2026, regarding the 102-page ELP agreement that was added last minute to tonight's agenda for approval, I'd like to point out these very important issues. One, it says it's a new 7 through 12 building. You said it was going to be a new high school building only. You also said the current high school will be renovated to house the current middle school grades 7 and 8.
Excuse me, Mrs. Whittinger, your time limit has been reached.
Okay, my first 3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like to
I would absolutely.
continue with your next comment?
Yes. You represented it out to the community, and it's not how it says in the contract. This contract calls to abate and demolish Buckeye Junior High School and Buckeye Junior High. It says take these 2 buildings down. There are blanks all over the contract. Important budget prices are completely left out. The project budget states $78 million. The entire project needs to be funded and paid in full before we are eligible for possible reimbursement. The self-fund advertised price to the public has been $65 million. There is no price for the Performing Arts Center, which is a locally funded initiative paid entirely by the district. I also see 2 gyms in the plan, and you said there would only be 1 standard gym. It is time to rethink this plan. It is not too late. Stop the spending before it destroys us. We all know about future potential loss from the state based on reports. We all know our emergency levy ends at December 2027. We all know our bond request for the new building has failed 3 times by an average of 65%. Moving forward with this new junior high and high school and performing arts center is going to land Buckeye in a greater financial detriment than we already are expecting on the books. A board member's job is not only to look at the best interests of the students, It's also to be good stewards to the community in financing and communicating. This means keeping students safe while helping them learn within the means of the school's funding and holding meetings in public according to law. I have to say, I believe if you move forward with this ELP agreement, you will be in neglect of your fiduciary responsibilities as board members. I need you to make sure you understand my perspective. I truly believe this is not in the best interest of the community and students. I will be seeking legal counsel regarding financial negligence. That is not a threat at all. It is an invitation to talk to you and come up with better problem solving. We know our levy passage history. We know the public's vote on the last 3 bonds. We know school finance future is uncertain, and we are collecting on an emergency levy at this moment. I am seriously begging you to either vote no or to at least table all of this 7 through 12 building and performing arts center spending for another day after more community involvement. I do have 5 questions I'd like answered. I would like to know from our finance committee exactly how they are planning for the anticipated losses and an exact breakout of where $8 million is coming from for this project. My second question is, I would like to know how the finance committee plans on future repairs and maintenance for the current high school that is supposed to remain standing.
Excuse me, Mrs. Sayre, your time has expired.
Okay, I have 3 more points. Can I say them?
If you put them down in writing and submit them, we'd be glad to consider them.
Absolutely. I'll hand it to you at the end of the session.
All right, then let's move on to informational discussion items. Yes, I'm sorry.
That was a different title.
Yeah.
Very good. All right, good evening, everybody. Thank you, Mrs. Gottleman, and welcome board, and welcome everybody who's here. We're going to start off, as always, with our students of the month. So thank you. I see a number of students and their families here. We are going to start off with our primary school this evening. So Ms. Rivera, I know you're here. Good evening. And is Justin here? Yeah, Justin and his family are here. Excellent. So come on up.
Okay, I'd like to introduce you to JJ Bailey. As you can see, JJ is an extremely popular student in our building, and I am delighted to share with you tonight and give you some information all about JJ. I had a chance to talk with him today. So last month, just for a little background, we focused on the Portrait of a Buck competency of perseverance. JJ joined Buckeye Primary School just this year, and nothing says perseverance like being a new student. JJ has fit in beautifully in his first grade classroom. He is a very active little boy, and I learned that he loves to play dodgeball outside with his playground bros. He loves PE class and recess. The more movement, the better. When he has an opportunity at indoor recess, he likes to play school with his classmates. He easily makes friends. JJ is very good at math and is very kind to others. When he's at home, he likes to play Lego 2K Drive on his Xbox, collect his Hot Wheel cars. Am I right? What did I miss? Oh yeah, that was his favorite day this year. His favorite car is his Buns of Steel, which looks like a hamburger. His favorite movie is SpongeBob. Yeah, and he can often be heard quoting the movie, "Oh, tartar sauce."
Oh, tartar sauce.
Tartar sauce. He loves to eat chicken nuggets, especially if they are dino nuggets with ketchup. And when I asked him what he wants to be when he grows up, he said, "I just want to be a kid." And we think this is a great answer. So I have a few of his teachers with us today to tell you a little bit more about JJ. As you can see, there's a lot of us here who loved him, and there's just so much to tell. We couldn't even just bring one person. I know we're almost done, buddy.
We'll be quick.
We'll be quick.
What I want to say about him is he is an
I know, there's so much to say about you.
he's an absolute delight to have in the classroom. He's a student who's had to overcome challenges, and he's done so with courage, persistence, continuing to try even when tasks are difficult or frustrating. What truly sets him apart is his ability to use humor, to stay positive, connect with others, and move forward through really challenging moments. His jokes, his smiles, his lighthearted attitude help him stay engaged in his learning and bring absolute joy to his classroom community. Through resilience, effort, and a great sense of humor, JJ shows perseverance every day, and he's a wonderful role model for his peers. This recognition is not only about overcoming obstacles, but about celebrating resilience, progress, and the strength it takes to show up and try your very best every single day. Our JJ reminds us that success looks different for every single person, and that perseverance is indeed something worth celebrating.
I'm JJ's first grade teacher, and JJ is truly a ray of sunshine. His smile and laughter light up any room he enters. He brings a smile to our faces and brightens our days. JJ loves with his whole heart, enjoys making others smile, and has compassion for everyone around him. JJ especially loves the number 6-7.
6-7.
And he reminds us anytime it may appear in our day. He loves hugs, high fives, and fist bumps. JJ has a beautiful imagination and creative mind. JJ's perseverance is one of his amazing qualities. JJ is a student who has conquered obstacles in his life with perseverance and resilience. He works hard in the classroom and has grown in his confidence and knowledge along the way. JJ's classmates encourage him to try his hardest and achieve his goals. We are so proud of the hard work JJ puts in every day. Excellent job.
JJ.
Well, that's a great start. Nice job, JJ, and teachers and parents, everybody's here for JJ. Awesome. Let's keep going in that same order. Mr. Williston, good evening. Mike is our intermediate principal. I think you've got Grady here, right? I do. All right.
All right, I told Grady he just had to present for 2 minutes, so go ahead. You ready? Not so much? That's all right. I got you. All right. So, as Mr. Rivera said, we were talking about perseverance. And perseverance at the 6th grade level is all about the middle school transition. And it's all about grit. It's the stage where school starts getting more complex, social lives get a bit messy. They definitely get a bit messy. And the easy wins from elementary school start to fade, and things sometimes get a little bit tougher. So what happens is, students learn how to ask for help. And students start learning how to recover from a mistake. If they forget something or miss a deadline, they figure out a solution, and they figure these things out on their own. And we really, really strive to have students figure these out on their own before they have to just come and rely on us for help. And then resolving conflict. We know in 6th grade there can be conflict with friend groups, possibly with a teacher, or even sometimes they bring in things from home and they just want to discuss them with somebody at school. But we encourage them to think about what's going on and to work through those things. And the most important thing about 6th grade is that the power of yet. I love this because instead of just, I don't get this, or I'm frustrated, I'm not going to do this, or math is stupid, or whatever the subject might be, although he loves math, so maybe it's not math. But it's, I don't understand this yet. And they work hard to try to overcome some of those difficulties. Grady got to sit down and talk for a little while today. Has a dog named Charlie. His favorite color is red. And he loves spaghetti. And he thinks that he should go out to dinner this weekend at, I think it's Lorenzo's down in Ashland, and then maybe some dessert out in Wellington. There's a little dairy shop out there that's pretty cool. I've driven by it a million times, but neither of us could think of the name of it. So parents, that one falls on you. I asked him who his favorite parent was. He did not fall for that question. like most of my other kids as well. And he said both parents because they're both awesome. And as I said before, he does love math. He loves karate, likes to play soccer, in Boy Scouts, and he did the crossover last year. He goes from Cub Scouts to Boy Scouts, and he likes to go to church and be involved in youth group. And he hopes that he gets to play football. Aaron, that's another one that one's on you. What I thought was really cool is that he would like to own a bakery when he's older. He loves to bake. He says he likes to bake with his brother, and he likes to bake with his mom. And he says that mom's the best baker in the family, and she makes the coolest cakes, and they are crazy good. So, let's see here. And then he likes school because he gets to see his teachers and friends. And I thought that was great. So we had a little bit of a conversation about continuing in school, and maybe even the culinary program at the Career Center or something like that. And he was excited about those options as he moves on to junior high and high school. From his teachers, this is from Mrs. Such. Grady is a great addition to our classroom. He's responsible. Nope, this is not. I think I'm backwards. Sorry. He's responsible each day for the lunch count and is up to new challenges even when they are difficult. He impressed me at 6th grade camp as he persevered through many new and difficult tasks with a smile on his face. And I look forward to seeing him each morning and love when he tells me about his latest interests or newfound joy in learning. I know he'll continue to grow at the junior high next year. And then from Mrs. Dahl, we're delighted to announce that Grady Deaton, a dedicated 6th grade student, has been selected as Student of the Month for Buckeye Intermediate School. Grady is being honored this month for his exceptional perseverance and drive to learn. His teachers have noted his outstanding work ethic and unwavering commitment to overcoming challenges in his studies. Grady consistently demonstrates a commendable attitude towards his education. When faced with a difficult concept or assignment, he never gives up. Instead, he approaches the challenge with curiosity and a determination to succeed, showing all of us what it means to truly be a driven learner. His effort sets a wonderful example for his classmates and contributes positively to our entire school community. One day, Grady was struggling to sit in his seat. I asked him if he needed to go get a drink or to go for a walk, and his comment was, "Mrs. Dahl, I'm just so excited to learn today, I can't sit still." Every day, Grady asks what he can do when he is finished with his given task. I've never seen a student who wants to learn or someone who works so hard every day. And his parents said that in his journey of confusion and misunderstood behaviors, Grady transitioned to understanding, acceptance, and empowerment. Grady has successfully accomplished this through the compassion, kindness, and patience of Buckeye teachers and staff, and continues to show his growth and his constant willingness to want to learn. So it is my absolute honor to present Grady Deaton as our Buckeye Star student. You sure you don't want to present?
All right, Grady, congratulations. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Mr. Glazer from our junior high school is here. And I believe you have Brendan. Good evening.
Hey, come on, Brendan. Good evening, everybody. Mr. Glazer, representing the junior high, we have Brendan. It is with great pride that we recognize you for outstanding contributions to our school community. Your hard work, character, and positive energy have not gone unnoticed by our faculty and staff. This year, you have truly embodied what it means to be a leader and a friend. Staff members have shared the following reflections on your progress, and they're both here with us tonight, Ms. Atkins and Ms. House. Ms. Atkins shared that Brendan comes to school each day with respectful and kind attitude. He works hard in every class and goes out of his way to check on his friends. Brendan consistently has a smile on his face and has done a fantastic job this year. We are all so proud of him and his progress he has made so far. Ms. House shared that Brendan sets an example for his peers. He is a hard worker who will persevere through the most difficult situations. He is respectful to everyone and overflows with kindness. Brendan sets a standard for Portrait of a Buck. Whether you are demonstrating your skills of playing the piano and violin, expressing your creativity by crafting paper dolls, or simply taking a well-deserved break to relax and watch SpongeBob. Brendan, thank you for being a role model. Your perseverance through challenges and your genuine kindness toward others make our school a better place. And we look forward to seeing all the amazing things you will continue to achieve. Congratulations, Brendan.
Congratulations, Brendan. Thank you, Mr. G.
Thank you.
Okay, and Mr. Stuck, our high school principal, Adam, good evening. I believe you will have Claire here. I see her out there.
Alrighty. Ms. Lamb.
All right, good evening, members of the Board of Education and all of our guests here tonight. Tonight, I have the absolute pleasure of recognizing our student of the month for Buckeye High School, is Claire Milton. Claire, time and time again, demonstrates each of the 8 components of our Portrait of a Buck, as well as our ongoing pursuit of our high school mantra of raising standards and exceeding expectations in literally everything she does. Claire is currently ranked in the top 10 class of 2026 and is a tremendous example of what it means to be a Buck. Claire consistently demonstrates leadership, academic dedication, and a strong commitment to serving others. Claire is involved in leadership opportunities all across our entire building. Claire is a member of Buckeye High School Student Advisory Panel, which in all reality, she can take some of the credit for the creation of that group. She also serves as a freshman mentor, works as a math tutor, and as a leader in unified sports. Claire has also represented Buckeye students by participating in Mr. Stanton's Superintendent Roundtable meetings and is an active member of the National Honor Society. Most recently, Claire helped represent Student Voice by participating in the visionary planning process for our school facilities. In the classroom, Claire challenges herself with a very rigorous schedule that includes a really long list. I didn't name them all, but to name a few: AP Calc, AP Gov, AP Pre-Calc, CCP College Composition, along with several other advanced science and math courses. Claire's approach to academics is with laser focus, determination, and a strong work ethic. Claire is also dedicated to helping others. She has volunteered at the Valley City Frog Jump Competition, worked for more than 45 hours supporting youth volleyball camps, and has volunteered at the Medina County Library. Outside of school, Claire balances multiple jobs. I think there are multiple jobs. You put them all down at once, so I'm not sure if you're working. Currently two. Okay. And where are those right now?
I'm a volleyball coach at a club, and then I'm a host at a restaurant.
Okay, I was still hoping you were working at Mally's Chocolate because Valentine's Day. Athletically, Claire is a 3-year varsity letter winner on the volleyball court and has competed in club volleyball for many years, earning multiple academic and athletic honors along the way. Claire truly represents the best of Buckeye High School, and we are super, super proud of her. I had the opportunity to sit down with her the other day and ask her some really hard questions that I don't think are hard, but man, when you ask students to identify a couple of these, it really can cause some head scratching. The first one was her favorite high school memory. Claire said her senior night for volleyball, which is truly a very, very special night for our girls. Her favorite class, she waffled on this one a little bit. She changed it last minute. It was 5th grade with Ms. Vetrick and Ms. Palmero, because of all of the friends in that class and just the wonderful class that was all the way back in 5th grade. She'd like to give a shout out to Miss Red for being an incredible teacher and an incredible person and somebody that she knows that she can talk to about life. And she wants to shout out her mom and dad specifically for all the amazing things that they have done for her over the years. Go ahead and cry if you want, it's fine. And Dad for a lot of transportation to and from volleyball. I'm sure you enjoyed when she got her driver's license. As a parent, I value now that my son can drive and drive himself. So I'm sure it's fond memories. Ladies and gentlemen, our student of the month, Claire Milton.
congratulations to Claire and to her family, and I would say that she has been an amazing part of my superintendent student committee as well. So thank you for that. I've enjoyed meeting you from that perspective. How can you not be excited about the students in our school district when you hear and see the stuff that we just saw? So congratulations to everybody. Okay, so just as usual, those of you who've come to other board meetings, you know what I'm going to say next. Thank you to the Buckeye Education Foundation for sponsoring our Students of the Month every month. We're always very appreciative of the Ed Foundation. And we're going to take a break now. So for our families that are here specifically just for the Students of the Month, we'd like to get some pictures, so come on up with your families in front of the backdrop and all that. We'll come back probably in about 10 minutes for the rest of the meeting. You don't have to stay. We certainly would love if you do. We understand if you don't. For the rest of us that maybe are here for the rest of the meeting, we're glad you're here tonight, and we'll get started again in about 10 minutes. Okay? Very good.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to call the meeting back to order, please. Mr. Stanton, would you continue?
We will continue. Okay, we've got some presentations in the next part of the board. Like we did the last couple months, we're going to have you as a presentation, sit in the first row so you can see what's being presented, and I'll find a place. So we're going to do that. Our first presentation is from Ms. Cuddy, the capstone presentation. I mean, we've got a student here as well.
This is Julia King.
Julia, thank you. I should have known that. I apologize. So as soon as we get settled, it's all yours.
All right, we are here this evening to talk a little bit about a new class for seniors at Buckeye High School. We are calling it Portrait of a Buck, the seniors capstone class. So students are creating community projects, community-based projects to earn an English credit. Next. The class members, there are only 6 kids in this class, but as soon as everybody finds out about this class, I think it's going to be much bigger next year. With us tonight, we have Julia King. Everybody else was working or ill. Next. I already said that, so next. We base our class and all of our projects around the competencies for the Portrait of a Buck, and we made a big list of everything that we can do in our community to support those specific values. Do you want to talk a little bit about this in our SM meeting?
Yeah, so we had a day at the beginning of the year where we just kind of brainstormed. Just kind of got us a lovely poster that we got to write down and make it like a physical thing. So we wanted to look at 2 separate areas that we could involve ourselves. The Buckeye community and then the community outside of Buckeye. So Medina County and things like that.
So this is a huge, that was just a huge list of all of the ideas they had of ways that they could help our community, either as in just Buckeye's community or Medina County. And so they came up with a huge list of things, and we narrowed it down. So we have Crafting Connections, which is Julia Andercott's project. She's the only person doing that project. She took us on a field trip over to, what is it called now? It used to be Echelon, but now it's Story Point, thank you. Now it's Story Point West, Medina. And we went over there and we passed out Christmas cards and Christmas cheer with a bunch of residents. And Julia just finished a craft over there by herself. She went and did it in the evening one night. And she created coffee filter butterflies with the residents. So they got to use watercolors and coffee filters and things like that. And she is in connection now with their activities director. And she enjoys going over there, and the residents loved to see us.
Yeah, and then our second project that we're doing is myself and 4 others. We're doing our senior sit-down podcast. So we really wanted to choose something that would engage Buckeye High School students, especially with the new phone laws and trying to really focus while we're at school. So we wanted to make something that was entertaining but also informational. So we talk about a lot of different topics, some stuff being school related, so like sporting events, shouting out our fellow students and classmates, and also just like fun stuff that high school students want to hear about.
Yeah, they were very excited to include some of this information from the Grammys that happened this past weekend. We went on a trip way at the beginning of the year. Mr. Snook said, "You want to do a podcast? That's awesome." And the kids said, "Well, we need like a podcast place, and we need like a couch, and we need this and that." And I'm like, okay. So Mr. Snook suggested, "Why don't you guys go thrifting?" So again, in order to give back to the Medina County community, we went to the Giving Place and Habitat for Humanity, and we bought a table and a chair and a couch and a few lamps. Is that everything we got? And we ordered some other stuff from, Amazon. But the big stuff we got for a good price and also helped the community by supporting. Then we had lunch over at Cool Beans. And I got to call the Cool Beans manager, and he was very excited to have us and knew we were coming and was very happy that we were all there, as well as the Giving Place. Stephanie was wonderful at the Giving Place. She talked to the kids, walked them through some of the stuff. They tried to bargain with her. She was no-go. This is a picture from when we went to Story Point Nursing Home. This was Julia when she was doing some of the Valentine's Day crafts. This woman is Hoot. She used to be a teacher. We think it may have been a long time ago, but she still talks about all her students. And then this is a picture of them greeting a woman who was outside our apartment and was just so happy to see anyone and just talk with the kids. It was lovely. This is our podcast team. We have Ethan, Sophia, Julia, Hayden, and Shaylin. And that's the end. Is there anything else you want to add? No? So we're hoping to get more enrollment, and we just wanted to share with you that that is what a Portrait of a Buck is. So thank you.
So how did you dream up this, and do other area high schools do this type of
Medina High School has the same class. It's called Portrait of a Bee, and we were trying to develop new and more interesting English classes to get kids to stay here on campus and do things that will facilitate a more modern feel to English classes. And we came up with this, and I contacted the lady from Medina, and she met with me, and I got a lot of her information and things like that, and we went from there. Anything else?
Very nice. Just a comment, Mr. Thank you, and nice job. I thank you for the invitation that you gave me earlier this year to come and talk to the class. It was a great day back in September, at least from my perspective. Hope it was for yours as well. But, we talk about these competencies. We talk about the 8 competencies that we say that we want every one of our students to experience as they are students in our district. That is incredibly important to everything that we do here. And yet, as I mentioned in my last month's presentation, I've mentioned before, it's challenging because those competencies aren't something that you can just automatically rate and see how it's working. We don't get a report card score on our competencies, right? But yet we know how important they are. To see those things come to life in an exciting elective class that our seniors are saying, this is what I want to do. And to see what you did with that to extend out into the community, just bravo. So thank you. Nice job to the students, and just way to go. Keep up the great work.
Thank you.
All right. I am next with 2 presentations. I'm going to try to pull this off from the podium here, if I can. I think I'll be able to. All right, and I apologize once again for, you guys see the backside of me here. So, but okay, so I wanted to present to the board and to the community an update from our facility plan, as I have every month, and also wanted to bring into focus some of the work that GPD architects are doing with us. So we see there, Vic, can you slide up just a smidge? No? Okay, no problem. Okay, so the leadership team there, our leadership team from GPD, from left to right, we have Mark Sal, there we go. We've got Mark Salpak, He is the senior management leader for the project. We have Aaron Rodenbaugh, who's going to be the project manager for us, Abby Ranieri, who is the educational planning and design person, and we have Bill Prenisol from GDP as well. It's interesting when we talk about Bill. Bill, prior to his work with GPD for years, was the lead person for the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission. He was their guy, he was the main person. He has left there, retired from there, and now he works for GPD. So we've been very beneficial to have Bill's experience in working with the OFCC. That is the main team that is working with us so far, working with our core facility group as we have gotten the project up and running. Okay, Vic, thank you. The next slide here is just a picture of Cloverleaf High School. Now, why am I showing a picture of Cloverleaf High School? First of all, because of the familiarity that we all have with our neighbors that are just a little to the southwest of us. And so that's certainly the first part. But CT Taylor Construction is the construction firm that built Cloverleaf. They are the construction firm that is building our new high school and is helping us renovate this building as well. Slide up just a little bit, Vic. Okay, a little bit hard to see, but some of the campus experience that GPD has put together, they have done work in the Highland local schools, they have done work over in Amherst and Lorain County, they have worked in the Akron Public Schools, they have worked in Hudson, and they have worked in Berea. And Vic, before you take that next slide up, I do want to talk about Berea. Berea is actually a school that our core facility group, along with some of our teachers just last week, went and visited. So to see the things that GPD put together at Berea was very interesting, and certainly things we can learn from them. Take it up just a little bit, Vicki, thank you. First impressions. So when GPD started working with us, they talked about how the first impression of a new facility, the impression that the community is going to see, is so important in a design and construction of a building. And what we see here, and again, I know it's kind of hard to see how it's projected this way, and this presentation will be available for the community starting tomorrow morning. But we have a vision there of Hudson Middle School on the left. You've got some pictures there of Cloverleaf, and Triway, Bedford City Schools was a 6-8 building. They also did an elementary primary building in Bedford as well. You see Coventry, and then you see some work that they did in Strongsville Middle School. And you'll notice a common theme in all those pictures of how, as you are entering into this building, it is new, it is wow, it is so different than what we have been accustomed to for schools that were probably designed anytime between the 40s and 80s, I would say. School construction looks so much different, and there certainly is a wow factor as you walk into these new buildings. GPD has come out with us and has met with us and has surveyed our teachers so far. And so far, the survey and the information with our teachers has been primarily focused with our high school teachers. Now, that is going to expand a little bit as we get into making this building a 7-8 building for a year, and then ultimately in middle school, we will expand. But for right now, we are talking only to our high school teachers. And GPD sent, with the help of our curriculum director, Bridget Elias, and the help of our student services director, Don Kashanic, sent a survey out to our teachers before they came out and met. And here's what they said. Our teachers said, oh man, they're so excited. Can we get started? Can we get started on this project? This was in November. Concerns. Our teachers said, listen, we're concerned about space. We're concerned about program-specific needs, and we want some clarity on the timelines. And last but not least, a recurring theme that our teachers told GPD on this survey is we need to make certain that our teaching staff is involved in the planning and design of what is ultimately going to become the new Buckeye High School. So what GPD said, no, one back. Yes, thank you. How, that's all good. How are they going to use that information? We also heard you got to prioritize communication. And you know, I have tried to bring a facility update to the board once a month. I've done that relatively consistently, but I know I need to continue adding to my communication We need to make certain that our community, our staff, our parents, our students are always up to speed with what's going on with this plan. They made it very clear that they want to continue engaging directly with our staff, and they absolutely have done that in the short time they're working with us now. We're going to address some practical concerns. And as we look up at here at the practical concerns, those things make sense, right? Our teachers, especially at the high school and our junior high school, have become accustomed to working in a building that isn't ideal for learning. So our teachers said, oh, we're so excited that we're going to have things like new furniture. We're going to have windows. You know, we joke about it when we're in this facility all the time, that this is one of the only places in this complex that has windows, right? But it is, right? So our teachers said, can we have some windows? Are we going to have proper air quality? Are we going to have additional safety and security features? And is the building going to have proper outlets? Now, as much as those are practical concerns, and I can say, of course, in new construction, that stuff is going to happen, they are still things that are very important to our teachers and to our students. And obviously, the enthusiasm was off the charts from our teachers as we are, working towards building a new high school. Thank you. So what's the scope of the project? Again, not the best picture there, but for everybody's knowledge, that is where we are building. You'll see some other slides here as well. We're building a new high school on the corner of Wolf and Columbia Roads, right, not even an eighth of a mile from where we're standing right now. New Buckeye High School project, we certainly need to build a new high school. That's what we are doing. We are going to renovate the existing high school, the building we're in right now, to make a middle school ultimately. In that first year that this building is open in 29-30 school year, this building will be a junior high school for 1 year. It will remain a 7 and 8 building. The following year, in the 2030-31 school year, we will move the 6th graders to this building from the elementary school. That will allow us, we are hoping, to expand our preschool opportunities for students in that building. And clearly, we have heard from the community that we would like more preschool here in the district. By the 2030-31 school year, we should be able to deliver on all of this. Our new high school will include a new auditorium, and then, of course, we will demolish our existing junior high school. Okay, this graph indicates how we're trying to put together the concept of everybody has some say in the design of this building. And understand, this building has not been designed yet. We don't have a mysterious drawing that's going to show up. We are visioning this right now. We are designing. No pencil has been put to paper yet. But as you look up here, clearly, the small circle in the middle is the Buckeye core team. The core team is going to be 2 board members. It's going to be myself. It's going to be Mr. Donnelly, the treasurer. It's going to be other members of the administrative team. It's going to include representatives from GPD architecture. It's going to include representatives from CT Taylor Construction. It's going to have our owner's rep from Westville Consulting on it. And that is our core team. Our core team has been meeting consistently now, probably since, I'm going to say, would you say November? November, okay, relatively consistent. That's the core team in the middle. The other equal parts of our diagram up there are our students, our community, and our staff. It is very important to us that when this building is open, that all 3 of our townships have an aspect of this new building. It is very important. So we are going to continue to engage with our community. We are going to continue to engage with our students and clearly our staff as we go through this project. Thank you. So where are we right now? This one, I'm sorry, I have 58-year-old eyes and not 38-year-old eyes. So I'm going to have to come a little bit closer for this. But our design engagement process, where are we right now? Here's our timeline. Here's February. Here's where we're at right now. And I want to indicate what some of these colors mean. The light blue here is our core team. So you can see the work the core team has been doing. The darker blue is our staff. All of those indicate areas this school year or what will come up in the next couple months where our staff is involved. The red is the survey. this is an interesting thing. In the month of January, GPD came out and did something they call a fly on the wall. That was really interesting. I didn't know what that was going to be. GPD architects came out and spent a day with us here. They just observed. They watched our students. They watched our teachers. They wanted to see the flow of how this school works. And I thought that was a pretty cool experience. There's some surveys and some mini visioning that's coming up as well. In the middle on this screen, I want to talk about the educational visioning team. And actually, when I get done with this presentation, I'm going to give a little bit more detail on the visioning work. But we are visioning this project right now. Now, this is just a snapshot of what we've done between December 2026 and June of 2026. And I will continue to update that timeline for the board and for the community as we work through this project. Thank you. Okay, so our schedule, you see between now and spring of 2027, it is all about visioning, it is all about design. Construction is scheduled to begin in spring of 2027 through spring of 2029. The project is supposed to be done on time and on budget. Move-in and final construction will take place summer of 2029 and through winter of 2029 when we demo the junior high school building. Pick it up one slide. Thank you. The process that is used. Again, orientation, engagement, all the way down to the closeout of the building. The steps that GPD will work with us throughout the entire project. Okay, our design approach, again, we're going to engage with the community, engage with our students, engage with our staff. Again, you see the small picture there of where we are located. One slide up. Okay. Educational visioning, I'm going to touch base a little bit more in detail on this when this presentation is over. But the phrase that is on the right is very, very important here. Our curriculum has to drive the design of this building. What we are teaching and what we are planning to teach going into the future has to be a driver of the design of this building. Because we build the building, we have to make certain that we are professionally developing our teachers and giving them access to the curriculum that is going to be needed not only in 2029, but in 2039, 49, 59, and 69, as best as we can figure that out. The site diagram itself, the next few slides are all about the site diagram. You see where we're located there and where this will be. Some things that were noted by GPD. You know, there is certainly a request from our staff and from their observation. Can we get a little bit more green space? Right? We have a lot of asphalt in our district. And how can we make a little bit more green? Can we connect the buildings? We have, my opinion here, but we have an amazing bonus here at Buckeye that all of our schools are on one campus. Right? Can we connect them somehow a little bit better? We have to. Anytime you have an opportunity to improve traffic flow, you're going to take that advantage. And my experience with school construction has been not only by requirements, but by practice. Traffic flow will improve when we come to a new facility. So we're going to, again, our scope is limited to the following things. We are going to build a high school. We are going to renovate this building to a junior high school, and that is the plan. You see, daylight is a priority. Yes, daylight is a priority. Natural light is a very good thing. Okay? There are some logistical challenges in our building. You know, we don't have a huge amount of land to work with. So we're seeing, can we figure out a way to connect our schools with our stadium, our stadiums? The library across the street is such a great asset for our kids and our staff. Can we organize the parking? Can we organize the high school space to make it an academic facility, more of an academic facility and more of an academic campus? And the early thoughts are we can certainly do that. That's the last one. Okay, so I wanted to present, and again, this will be available on web pages early as tomorrow. I wanted to present to the board and to the community what has been presented to our staff so far and the work that we're doing. This is a continual process. We will continue to bring updates to the board and to the community as we work through this. Okay, I have some visioning things I want to talk about, but let's stop for a minute here, and I'll ask board members if you have any questions for me on this, or any comments, or anybody.
I think, Jeff, the timeline that you show, I think it's always going to be good and important for us to continue to show that, being able to understand where we are. It's a long journey in order to get there, right? So making sure that we understand the work that's been done, what are those next steps in front of us, and how we're going to end up collaborating, I think, with the community. So thank you for that. I think the more we talk about this as well, the better. Certainly, it's a very transparent, healthy plan, being able to share that. There's going to be some obstacles along the way, so how do we get around those?
And we're excited. I mean, we think the team that we have here is, not only our internal team, but the architect and CMR, we think they're just an A-plus team, right? And we've seen that already. We had all kinds of great options. I mean, everybody who did the job was a great company. We're really happy about the work that we've already done with GPD and CT Taylor, and I believe that's going to continue. Mr. Salazar, you are correct. There are some hurdles coming, okay? And there always are, but we will work on it. Good. Okay, I'm going to quickly transition into visioning here just a little bit. I want to bring everybody up to speed as to what's going on with visioning. And again, understand that nothing has been designed yet, in no way, shape, or form. But we had a visioning experience on January 29th. We had some snow days in there, so we had to adjust the dates. And our next visioning experience is actually Thursday, so 2 days from now. There are 2 visioning meetings that were scheduled. So what is visioning? We had 50 to 60 community members, students, teachers, staff, parents, district partners have met with us and will meet with us again Thursday to begin to lay out a vision of the new high school. From a physical plant perspective, from an instructional perspective, from a course offering perspective. It's really heavy work, I would say, but great and rewarding work. There are no drawings or renderings of any building at this point. We are visioning, and we will get there. We're going to do a similar activity over the course of this project for our junior high school and 6th grade teachers as we transition this building into a junior high and a middle school eventually. We will keep the community updated, but we know that and want to do that with our junior high school teachers and our 6th grade teachers as well. The themes that came out of last week's visioning meeting, in no particular order, included these things. We heard loud and clear, safety and security needs to continue to be improved. There needs to be comfort. There needs to be spaces for collaboration. We need to be flexible. So if we build something in 2029 for a class, so to speak, we don't know in 2039 if that class is still going to be there, if that class is still going to be relevant. So let's make certain that we build the school so it is flexible and innovative and we can move as we move forward. Community identity was important. Engaging and exciting curriculum for our students. Adaptability and flexibility. Social well-being. Prep for life outside of school. Inclusion for all of our students. These were the themes that came out of visioning number 1. Now, here's the thing, folks. They weren't Jeff Stanton's themes. Okay? It was a hard meeting for me because I had to walk for about 6 hours we were here, and I was given the direction that you can't be at these tables building what Jeff Stanton wants. Okay? You have to let the visioning happen, and let's hear what the community was saying. Let's hear what the teachers are saying. Let's hear what the staff is saying. These are the themes that came out of there. Some other things that we're doing, we are visiting some schools at this point. We visited last week the core team. We visited Berea, as I mentioned a little bit. We had teachers, we had members of the core team. We went to Berea and were treated incredibly well and saw so many great things that they did there, and also some things that they've learned to not do again. We also went up to, we went north of here a little bit, and we visited Magnificat. Now, you might wonder, why would we visit Magnificat? There's nothing that connects Magnificat to a public high school, in Medina County. But we are working with Fueling International from a curricular perspective, professional development perspective. Fueling International is also working with our friends in Clover. But Fueling International has done an awful lot of work at Magnificat. So we wanted to go up and see the work that they did there. And again, it was a great day. Next week, we are scheduled to also visit our friends at Firelands, and we are also going to take the team over. So the visioning experience is going on. It starts again on Thursday. After that is over, there will be all kinds of comprehensive summaries of the visioning, not only from me, but from our friends at GPD, from CT Taylor, Impact Group, our communication group is here working with us. We will certainly get more formal summaries of visioning too. Okay. All right. Questions from the board on anything tied to visioning?
I mean, I'll just add that I was able to be at the last visioning session. The role that the students played was phenomenal. Each table had probably, I'd say, 2 to 4 students at it. And as a community member, I learned a lot about what students like about this building, what they don't like about this building. Many of the students have been to other facilities around the area, so they kind of know what they would like to see. My confidence level in terms of what this new high school will look like is very high because of the students and the staff that were in on those visiting sessions. They really do know what direction we need to go in from a curriculum perspective. And I think the role the community played was we listened a lot as a community. We listened a lot when students say, well, we don't really need lockers. I mean, as an older school, high school, I mean, lockers take up a lot of wall space, so that was interesting to hear our students and staff say, well, do we really need lockers? And I was like, what, are we joking? So that was interesting. Yeah, right.
What did they tell you?
They said no.
They said
I mean, it was. I bet you most of the community members in there, including myself, were like, yeah, we need lockers. And staff and students were like, no, we never use lockers. So anyways, it was, I think the community's role was really powerful in the sense of kind of reminding everybody that we're on a budget. Yes, it sounds like we're going to build an $80 million school, but we have $58 million to spend. So it was just a powerful day, and it was a long day, but it was powerful.
Thank you for being here for us.
Just comments as well. I think going to see other facilities certainly a good idea. I think students and maybe some of the community members, we've been to other high schools and know what's going on, but you don't go in with that eye of what could be represented in Buckeye, right? What would fit for us? So going through that and finding maybe those best practices that other sites have that we might be able to adjust or adopt, certainly a good idea. And I would second assess focus on the budget, right? So I think as we go through these visioning exercises, and I know we talked a bit about this already, but we have a budget. We have to make sure that we're defining maybe our wants versus our needs. Make sure that we can deliver it.
Thank you, Mr. Salazar. To comment on what you just said. One of the things that was very evident to me, probably when we were at Berea more, the superintendent spent a large amount of time with us, and we took a lot of people, right? It was a little overwhelming, right? Superintendent, her team spent a lot of time with us. But we also had a teacher walking with us. We also had an operations director walking with us. So as to hear what they experienced with GPD and the build of that school and the design of that school from a teacher lens, talking to our teachers, from an operations director talking to Mr. Justice, from a superintendent talking to me, that was pretty neat. Now, I want to remember, because in my mind, in 2030, 2031, there are going to be people coming here saying, hey, can you walk us through? I want to make certain that, of course, we will say yes, but I also want to remember that having members of that team connect with our team was a key. So, okay, you good? All right, thank you for your time, everybody. Thank you for your time. Mr. Don.
Can I suggest something? I don't want to get out of order with the agenda, but so you don't have to go back and forth for the financial presentation, Jeff, I think you have 3 more items. I could jump ahead and do the 5-year forecast.
Yep, why don't we do
Come
that?
up with all the things.
You got it. So you want me to kick off my items right
I'm
now?
concerned about your knee, I don't want to give you too much
Yep.
extra work.
Mark, that's a good suggestion. Okay, so my other items, Mark, this was very good. They are quick. So just to remind, Buckeye Day. Buckeye Day is going to take place on March 11th. Buckeye Day this year will happen at the high school. So if you remember, 2 years ago, we were at the elementary, last year at junior high. This year, it is at the high school. Our Wilma J. Bunch Award for certified and classified employees of Buckeye. The nomination form can be found on the Buckeye website. That is an award that we give out at the beginning of the school year, so it'll be next year. Why do we put it on so early? Because as Mrs. Calvin tells me all the time, it takes a long time to get those nominations in. So thank you, Vicki, for putting it on. And last but not least, I'm sure you all know, but Monday's President's Day, so we don't have any school on Monday. And Mark, that was a good suggestion from you. I cede the floor to you.
I get one good suggestion a week. Hold on 1 second. Mrs. Silich, did you take your materials?
Yep.
Yep. Oh, yeah, okay. Oh, Jeff.
Yeah, that's good. That's right, lady.
You can see what's going to be presented, but in case there's a number you can't read or something you can't see, before we have information. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to present the 5-year forecast for the second half of our fiscal year 26. There's been a lot going on with all the state legislation on property taxes. And quite frankly, Jeff and I were at a meeting just the other day with the county auditor's staff said they're still working out the implementation of the new tax laws. I've talked to several people, consultants, and I've got what the most common line of thinking is and what's going to happen to our funding. I think it's important we all hear that, but also it's important to understand some of the things that we're doing and some of the plans we're making so we can be a viable school district for many, many years in the future. So anyway, if we can go, just to give you a quick roadmap of where I'm going to go, we are going to go over some noteworthy financial impacts for the current year and into the future as well. Revenue expenditure changes and maybe some other financial issues that have come up. And I'm going to get into projected revenues. I'm going to discuss that for a while. And I'm also going to talk about our expenditures, and then I'm going to try to summarize what I feel we may have to tighten our belts and move forward together. But it's something that, because of the uncertainty of the county auditor, and it's getting more clear, but I probably will have an updated forecast in May once maybe some better information are available, maybe the implementation of the new tax laws are out there. So, noteworthy financial impacts. Of course, the legislature has passed 4 new tax bills. Sometimes they pass one tax bill and we adjust to it. 4 new tax bills, they interact, they affect each other, but House Bill 129 includes emergency levies in the 20 mil floor. So that reduces the value of emergency levies over time as it gets absorbed into the floor. House Bill 186 caps the millage increases to the rate of inflation instead of property tax increases, the actual property value increases. The thing is, until recently, our property valuations have not climbed like they have in the last 5 years. This is really a once-in-a-century kind of thing. It's kind of a correction of home values. And there's a few reasons behind it, but private equity firms coming in, buying up homes, fixing them up, and making money and reducing the supply of open homes. But it's a long story. House Bill 309 grants greater authority to the county budget commissions, who could look at our finances and our cash balances, and now they have the authority to say, you don't need all the money you're levying, and they can reduce our levies because they feel we don't need the money. They have that authority. House Bill 335 caps inside millage revenue growth, because there's 10 mills inside. It's kind of difficult to explain. But the first cap is on outside millage. The second is inside millage growth. So they're cutting off the growth of our property taxes. So our property taxes will not grow at a steep rate. I'll explain later how that impacts our financial forecast and in schools in general. Also, emergency levy.
Sorry, just a quick question. With the 4 House bills, we don't know the impact yet. we know the timing?
They're all different.
Okay.
One,
Will any of them impact 25, 26?
the answer is yes and no, and I'm trying to, the answer is no, we'll get all the funds we're supposed to do in 26, but they make up for it at the beginning of 27.
Okay.
So they kind of come back and grab what they didn't grab in 26. So sorry about the confusing answer, but that's what happens. Our emergency levy expires in December of 27, so less than 2 years from now. That raises $3.2 million a year. House Bill 129 will decrease the value of that as it gets absorbed into the 20 mil floor. So the 3.2 million, maybe 2.8 million, 2.5 million, and then it's gone. Other noteworthy financial impacts. The board approved the new high school plan, as we've all heard many, many times. We're going to demolish the junior high. We're going to renovate this building. This will involve using cash reserves and taking on new debt to be serviced from current revenue streams, but not general fund revenue streams. We have an 071 sales tax revenue stream that brings in about $1.5 million a year. We also have an 003 permanent improvement revenue stream. Those can be used to service the debt, not impacting general fund. I just said this, but while the debt will be serviced with 003 and the 071 sales tax revenue, they are not part of this forecast, but it's important to note that funds available for future capital improvements will be reduced because now we're paying debt. But we're taking care of a lot of our capital needs with a new building, getting rid of an old building that's a bit of a maintenance nightmare, updating this building with the most urgent needs being addressed, taking care of roofs and parking lots and swing sets and playground sets currently with other funds we've used last year, and we're going to use this next summer. We're taking care of a lot of those capital needs. So we may not need big chunks of money for capital projects in the future, so we're not too concerned about only having $600,000 a year for capital needs.
Mark, I'm sorry, permanent improvement is how much sales tax is 1.1 million?
Sales tax is 1.45, maybe 1.5 million, depends on the sales tax. The 850,000 or so from PI money, 003, that actually got a bit of a bump, but that may or may not stay there. We get 50 grand more, maybe it goes down to 800,000 more. Other things that we have to be concerned with anytime I put together a 5-year forecast. State foundation, where is that going? And quite frankly, state foundation has been flat, but for some odd reason this year, we got a $300,000 bump in what they're giving us. It's not unappreciated, but it's not the amount of money we're going to lose from our property taxes, but it's helpful. I still project state revenues to stay flat. And just as an example, in 2000, we had $5.2 million coming in from the state when our budget was around 16 million. 25 years, 26 years in the future, we're getting 5.9 million from the state. Not exactly a lot of growth. So we can't really count on the state bailing us out. That's why we go to the property owners, because we can't, and we ask for support, and when we get that support, it's very much appreciated. Other revenue expenditure changes with the new property tax legislation. With the new property tax legislation and resulting decrease in revenue, Buckeye local schools will have to critically review all current and future expenses to ensure we're getting best value for all expenditures. I've always defined value as the best combination of price, quality, and service. We have got to find the best value for how we spend our money so the taxpayers and our students and our staff can continue to do what they do with the students, but our staff needs to have the materials and the tech and all that to do what they do. Our students deserve a good education. We cannot shortchange the students just because of money. We've got to figure out a way. Without the expected revenue increase from the property tax reappraisal, Buckeye local schools will have to search for new revenue streams and or reduce costs to ensure we maintain adequate cash reserves and we can sustain ongoing operations of the district. The sooner you make systemic changes, the less the impact is. This is a bad example, but say you realize we need to eliminate some positions. If you eliminate 3 positions this year, if you wait 3 more years, now you're eliminating 17 positions or something because it builds up. So the sooner you can make choices, and if we can do some things, and I'm not saying we're eliminating positions, but that was the only example I can come up with. Also, we most likely will be in a deficit spending situation shortly. As with all deficit spending situations, like I just said, public education, the sooner we implement a new plan, the less drastic the impact of the change. Okay, let's go over the revenue forecast. This only includes general funds. So when I talk about bond improvement, PI, sales tax, food service, federal funds, those are not part of this forecast. It's just general fund or operating money, turning the lights on, payroll, salaries, supplies, those things for operating the schools. General property tax, personal property tax, and state reimbursement for property tax credits are all local revenue sources accounting for 76.2% of our revenue, which is over $25 million currently. The previously expected bump in fiscal 26 and again in fiscal 27, and the only reason why it's kind of hard to explain, but our fiscal year starts in July, ends in June. The tax year starts with the calendar year, so their first half is our second half. It's kind of hard to explain. It's something to get used to as a treasurer, but you get part of the bump in fiscal 26, we would get the other part of the bump in fiscal 27, so we'd have 2 years of increases with the reappraisals. However, with the way the tax law is going to be interpreted, our emergency levy will make us go above the floor because it's included with the floor calculation. Therefore, we do not get a reappraisal bump. We simply get what our tax, our effective mills would generate based on the values. So there is no major bump. State aid is projected to remain relatively flat, and investment revenue, which last year was pretty significant, we went from $550,000 up to $1.7 million. As we've moved a lot of funds significantly into the 070 account, a lot of interest that's generated by those funds is going into the 070 account. So over the course of this fiscal year, we'll get over $2 million in interest, but most of it's going into the 070 account directly because that's what the funds are. So that's if you ask where the $8 million come from, $2 million comes from interest. Another $1 million came right away from the bond retirement fund. And between the PI money and the sales tax money, there's another $2.5 million right there. So that's a big chunk of our $8 million we're going to put away this year. So let's get into the actual numbers. This is the current forecast that I'm projecting right now. Our revenue streams actually this year, they're going to be where we projected them, just because, like I said, they can't react. The tax bills are already created before the governor signed the bill December 19th. So they're going to have to backtrack or claw back some of those top dollars they're going to pay us this month and part of next. In August and September, they're going to take some of that money back. So our revenues will be about the same. For here, our personal property tax, also the state reimbursement. So this year we're solid. These, I don't know if you've been on five-year forecast presentations this year, but this $3.8 million, it looks like a nice revenue bump. That is simply a transfer from the 016 fund, which is part of the general fund. They closed it down, so I had to transfer the money in. It looks like revenue, it's not. It's simply transferring money from the right hand to the left hand kind of thing. It's all general fund. And these other items here are other. We had advances that came back in. We had a couple of grants last year, and also the $506,000 we get reimbursed from the Career Center for Project Lead the Way teachers that work in our district, and we pay. They reimburse us. Anyway, our revenues. It's not quite $38 million because of this, but we're still at $34 million in revenue. We're doing well. The next few years, we take a significant drop here, and part of that drop is money that they gave us too much of in 26. So we're going to go from 18 million to 16 million, but really our personal property tax drops and our state reimbursement drops. So it's like a $3 million loss next year. And then the following year, because in 28 we lose our emergency levy, and more of our village caps kick in. We drop from 16 million down to 15 and a half, slightly more. All of our other revenues continue to drop. So our total revenues, we were at 34 almost. We dropped to 31, and now we're down around 30. And it continues to drop to 29 because of the cap situation with the inflation cap for any increases in property values. So we will not get what I thought earlier, last forecast, I will not get reappraisal bump in 29. So, revenues, all in all, they really don't look too bad. We're going to stay about 34 million down to 29 million or so. It's not too bad. It's manageable. But let's move on to expenses and find out where we're at with expenses. And I want to say one thing right now. Our expenditures, general fund expenditures, is not related to the capital project, the new high school, except for one item, and I'll point that out. Okay. That didn't turn out like I wanted it to. But the red line is the projections we had in the fall, where we were with revenues. This is the projection we have now for lower revenues. And between this is fiscal 27, 8, 9, 30. The next 4 years, there's $11 million worth of revenue we will not receive over what we were going to receive. Next slide. And here's a comparison of revenues. I hate when things don't work out. Comparison of revenues that I projected in the fall to where we're at in the spring. And the highlight, sorry about the highlight, but I was just trying to point out how some of these revenues are definitely decreasing in a big way over what we projected in the fall. Okay, expenses. Before I go on, Board, is there any questions on revenues that why we're going down? Any questions? The expense forecast, payroll expenses will increase this year, as they always do with their raises. Employee raises, new cleaners we added, maybe another position or two, but we will have increased payroll expenses. Employee retirement insurance is a function of their payroll, so those will increase as well. Purchase services have increased because this year, legal utilities that our electric bills are going through the roof right now, so utilities are up. Transportation costs, we have some service contracts with transportation, special education services, and ESC costs have all risen over the past year. Supplies, materials will increase this year as custodial maintenance and transportation needs increase, plus some of the capital projects and other maintenance projects that operations department is doing. It's not, $1 million projects, but there are projects that because we got to go out and buy supplies and more paint or more HVAC equipment, that all adds to the increase in the supplies. And capital outlay has increased this year because we're trying to continue with different projects and different things we need to do. We purchased some vehicles and we've done some other things too. But we know we can't continue spending at this rate. So let's take a look at the numbers. Go to the next page. Our expenditures for payroll are projected to go up. We have expenditures here in our retirement benefits. This year is low by $400,000 because a bill that should have come in June didn't came in July. So $400,000 not paid last year. And it will be paid this year plus the amount that wasn't paid last year. So it's really an $800,000 increase just because of medical bills that we pay $400,000 a month. So this looks like it's really high or a huge bump. That's just a function of timing. Anyway, our expenditures, we're not in horrible shape this year. In fact, we have transferred, $3.8 million was transferred into, on the revenue side. The $3.8 million is included in this number here, being transferred out. There's another $3.2 million, actually, there was $3.2 million planned to be transferred to the project. This is the one impact from general fund on the capital project fund. We're transferring $3.2 million, but in an effort to maintain general fund balance, thinking we only transfer $2.2 million, keep an extra $1 million into the general fund, because our budget was $65 million. We were going to come up with $63 million, and interest would feed the rest of the budget. If we shortchange ourselves by $1 million, we'll still get that $3-4 million of interest out of the project. We'll still have our $65 million budget, and we'll leave $1 million more in the general fund to help with any shortfalls or any deficits. So here we are, our expenditures. Yes.
That adjustment you just talked about, is that represented in here, or that's
That is represented. This was $7.3 million, now it's $6.3 million. Also, and I will show it on the next slide if my highlighter goes through this. This year was going to be $5,150,000. That $5 million, because of our additional revenue we expected next year, we were going to be able to transfer $5 million out towards capital projects. Should we need something else with the new high school or even renovating this building? If we needed it, it was going to be there. If we didn't need it, it could be back in the general fund. But that $5 million has been taken out of the budget. So between this line and this line, there's $6 million that are no longer included in our expenditures. It allowed us to make our expenditures more palatable within our revenue streams. And if you look down here where we're showing positive cash flow, here we begin deficit spending in fiscal 28. This number here is manageable. If we do a really good job of watching this $1.5 million could be lowered to maybe a zero, maybe no deficit spending at all. But it's going to take some work. It's going to take some tightening of dollars. And these other numbers here, we definitely need. Next. Yeah, the highlighting that could be in the figures here. I got to figure that out. But I was trying to point out how this number here is $7 million last year, and this number here almost $7.7 million. How the big difference. I tried to point out we had $7 million being transferred, now it's $6 million. We had $5 million being transferred, now it's $150,000, where we cut costs, cut projected expenditures. We're spending $750,000 on a general fund capital outlay this year. These dollars were $250,000 each year. They've been reduced to $50,000 each year. Just going to have to tighten our budget. Those kind of reductions in the budgeting in the future plans helps us maintain a positive cash balance for the next year.
So capital outlay, you're going from 750, or you had 250, let's say that, you're gonna go to 50. What would that, what are you cutting costs on? What are you spending money on?
Well, this last year between buying equipment, and we spent $2.5 million last summer on a lot of things, but we also bought some equipment, HVAC repairs, textbooks, tech equipment, and I wish I had a whole list of everything we purchased, but we have purchased a lot of stuff. In this budget of $750,000, we may only be spending $350,000, $400,000 of it, but it's there because of all the capital projects we're doing and all the things we want to catch up on before we build a new high school. We just want to make sure that we can take care of it. And up until 6 months ago, we were fine, but now we have to change our plan.
So I have another question.
Sure.
2.5 million is estimated for the elementary school for the roofs. Where's that money at?
That's already at the beginning of last summer. We had $5 million total between the 071 sales tax and the 003 permit improvement. That $5 million, half of it was spent last summer, the other half is going to be spent this summer. But this fiscal year, we're still collecting another $2.5 million in the funds. Those dollars will be transferred to the capital project fund to allow us to hit our $40 million, amount of $39 million.
Thank you.
Anyway, if you go to the next page, graph, there we go. I want to do this graph here is meant to be much taller and bigger, but the real point of this graph is really to say our costs are constantly going up. That's just a function of life. Things cost more year after year, and utilities are going through the roof. Employees deserve raises. Benefits cost more. Turning on the lights cost more. Costs go up, but what's not going up is our revenue streams from the state. They flattened out our property taxes. They flattened out our state revenue. We have got to come up with a way, a revenue stream that will grow with us. If federal tax, the federal government has more tax, well, if your income goes up and they take a percentage, well, they get more. They don't have to ask for it. It's just included in the formula. Same with state tax. But for us, we have to ask for it. And we beg the state for it. We don't get a lot. We ask the local property owners if they'll pass levies. It's tough. And people don't necessarily just want to keep spending money on schools. But we got to learn to value education, and we got to be smart with our money and smart with the way we do things. So the public to trust what we're doing and help us move forward, the whole community move forward together. So next slide. So there's basically a new funding model. We've known for a long time state funding provides almost flat revenue growth year over year. The new property tax legislation has taken away a source of growth for the local revenue streams. There can be some growth, but it will be greatly reduced. It's not going to be enough to keep up with inflation. Future increases in expenses will be much more difficult to fund due to the systemic change. The 2004 reappraisal bumps will be reduced. Emergency levies will be meaningless after the effective mills, after it reaches the floor. And the once-in-a-lifetime property tax value increases have created a knee-jerk reaction from our legislature and will hamstring school funding for decades. We are challenged to find a funding source that can increase over time and that can keep up with inflation as our costs rise. There's some ideas out there, but that's for future consideration, and maybe we got to do some research before we figure out what we want to do. Next page.
Wow, for the record, the
graphs
in the printout are much better.
The biggest point of this graph was to show ending cash balances. The fall forecast, our ending cash balance stayed right below $10 million, but it has a very acceptable range. The next graph for spring 26, if we stay on the same current track, our cash balance goes to zero. That cannot happen. We cannot let that happen. We have to make changes here so we can maintain the district for many, many years to come. And the last page. In conclusion, we have to manage our costs very carefully over the next few years and look for ways to reduce costs without impacting the quality of our services to the Buckeye community. We need to find a sustainable revenue source that our community will support. And it must be made very clear that this funding challenge was not created because of a decision to build a new high school. It was created by state legislation that changed our expected revenue streams without a real solution or option to replace those lost revenues. The future of our community and our students depend on our school board, our administration, and our staff working together to find real solutions to problems that we did not create. Are there any questions? Sorry if that was confusing. Sometimes financial information is not easy to follow. And quite frankly, I know sometimes people have questions and they feel like we're not being upfront. If somebody were to call my office and say, I have a question about finances, I would invite you in, let's sit down, let's go over the finances. Because really, I'm an honest guy. I try to be upfront and honest about everything we do. And if we work together, we understand each other, we're going to make headway. If we fight each other for the next several years, we're not going to make it. We have to learn to value education as a community and go forward that direction. Thank you for your time.
Mark, I'm sorry. As you think through what you presented, thank you for the presentation. We know that we're going to be impacted. We don't know the exact timing or the impact, right? Changes are coming. We'll just have to, I guess in my mind, it's going to take a little bit more time to understand what those changes are. And then we will have to figure out how to adjust from a forecast perspective.
Yeah, one of the thoughts on the way the law was enacted, because the governor signed the law on December 19th, it does go into effect until March 19th, but our tax rates are going to be certified before then. So we thought if the law's not in effect, we should have those taxes for the rest of the year. It's not the way it's being implemented. At least that's what we've been told.
Yeah. So then to your other point of building a school is not impacting the decision to the issue of being created by the state. I think there's lots of other districts that are not building a school that are also looking at funding and other.
Yeah, we're going to see a record number of schools go on the ballot in the next year and a half, 2 years, just because of the impact. What can we do? How do we make up the shortfall? Because planned revenue streams have been changed.
So I'm going to have two questions real quick. The $5 million to fix this place up, is that in the 63, whatever the number is?
It's in the 63 that will grow to 66, yes.
And so that's already taken.
That's already in. It's like break up.
Okay, and then your statement that you said, you made it clear that funding challenge was not created because of the decision to build a new high school. It's created by the state legislation changing. Is that something that you saw was coming, or is that something brand new?
No. Back in the summer, the state was talking about it, but There's no concrete evidence it was gonna pass, you weren't sure it was gonna pass. Quite frankly, if you constantly don't make a decision because you're waiting for something else to happen, you'll never make a decision. And I think the kids in our district deserve a decent building. And to get out of the middle school that rains inside on a rainy day, and all the other issues with the junior high, I honestly believe we made the right decision. We made it at the right time, too. We can move forward, we can do better, and we will. We just gotta pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and work together as a community instead of being divisive and attacking each other. We need to do a really good job deciding what do we value as a community and go that direction.
Mark, if I remember correctly, when your predecessor, Ms. Knapp, was the treasurer maybe 4 years ago, when we looked at five-year forecasts, the projections were that we would begin deficit spending in school year 28-29. And we had conversations back then, I guess that would have been 4 years ago, so 2022. She was projecting that we would begin deficit spending in 6 years. And I remember mapping out, or her presenting, where our levy dollars were coming from. Now, this was before both of the most recent property tax increases. So 4 years ago, when we were just expected to rely on relatively stable real estate appraisals and our current levy structure, we had talked about 4 years ago needing to renew the emergency levy for $3.2 million, and that renewal should get us another several years. Then, as the first reappraisal occurred, we were happy as a district because it put us at the 20 mil floor, which then allowed us to see a benefit of that appraisal with more revenue without having to go, in essence, back to the voters to ask for any type of an increase. And then when we looked at the 5-year forecast, it really pushed the deficit spending by several years. Let's call it 2031. Then last year, when we got the second reappraisal, was when we started to realize that if this trend continues, and we can't pass a bond, we could begin to shift some of these savings into a major master facilities plan without having to go back to the taxpayers as well. It really was a win-win. We could accomplish a lot of our campus and facility needs and continue to operate without deficit spending. And that ultimately was the plan as we created this summer, this self-funded, if you'll call it that. I get it, right? It's somewhat of a fiscal responsibility savings plan that allows us to build a new high school and renovate this. Then when the state began to talk last year at this time about the biennium budget, and we all started to say, wow, there is some major rumblings on property issues going on at the state level. Then when Governor DeWine vetoed a lot of those, and then when they were brought back up this fall, was really when we started to realize that, yes, we can move forward with the building of a building and the renovation of this building, but now we need to start talking about we're going to begin deficit spending again in the 28-29 school year, which is very similar to the conversations we had 4 years ago prior to the real estate appraisal bumps. So I guess for me, what is your timeline on having the conversations of now that, post-elections of 2025, now we're sitting here with all these decisions that have been finalized at the state level in December. What is your timing as the treasurer on how you envision kind of presenting options on how we get to the point where we're not deficit spending in 28-29?
We probably need to have real hard discussions between now and next November. Not that we'd be on a ballot next November unless the board decides to go sooner, but at least by then, we'll have a much clearer picture of the impact of all the legislative changes.
When you say next November, you mean November 27th?
Yeah, I mean,
This
November 26th.
November.
Yeah, well, yeah, the way I was, it's the next time November rolls around.
Yeah.
But in 11, 8, 10, 9 months, we'll have a real good idea of what the impacts are. And we'll have a much clearer forecast of where we're going. We may have to be on the ballot May 27th, and we begin in November 27th. But it's going to be important to make sure that we have a plan if we don't pass. It won't be pretty, but the thing is, we can't deficit spend all the way to no cash. We have to maintain the cash balance. So there's a certain point where we need to take drastic measures. And hopefully we don't have to. Nobody wants to do that, especially because I stood up in front of the entire district and said, I want to protect the cash balance, make sure jobs are secure. I didn't realize that the legislature and the governor had that.
I just want to say one thing. People ran on the ticket that we're not going to have new taxes. So I'm not having any discussions on having any new taxes.
And I'm not arguing with you, but I do want to say with the flat revenues,
I get that.
expenses go like this, it's truly not realistic to say no to the revenues. Otherwise, you're laying people off every year, and you're cutting transportation, and you're cutting programs, and you cut to the bone of our operation, and we won't be Buckeye schools anymore. So that's my commentary.
I think before we have any of those conversations, right, we have to understand the impact from the state, which is going to take a little bit of time.
So thank you for your time. Thank you for your interest. If you have questions about anything I said, because you're confused right now, you don't know what to ask, call me, email me. I'd love to sit down and talk to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mark.
Jeff, are we good with presentations?
We are done with presentations.
Let me get my computer for you up here. Okay, we're on, I think, number 7.
Yes. We have a treasurer's action item.
You know, we have a then and now purchase order. I think we had a couple last month. But we have a purchase order to the Cuyahoga Community College. It's dated January 6th, but the invoice is actually dated back in December 19th. And it is for $10,000, so this does require, according to policy, board approval to allow us to go forward with this purchase order.
Can I ask a question, or do we have to do it?
No, you can ask questions.
I quickly looked this over. Was this the one about the books?
CCP books, yes.
So, do we do online, or do they actually have books that they?
I don't know how they ordered it. I just know I've got an invoice that's December, and I got a PO that's dated January. I remind staff frequently, do the PO, then order. They're on the phone, and they don't think about finances like I do. I'm always thinking about one thing.
Don, if I can answer there, Mrs. Sellers, that it's a combination. So you're going to have both resources, part like a book. You're also going to have some others.
Okay, I was just wondering if that's books. I know my son did online, during COVID and that, and I know the books, he got books and then he could resell them. Do we get the books? Do we keep the books, or do the kids keep the books?
Rich, you want to go? You're coming your lane right now.
We keep the books,
We keep the books?
And then they become,
and then they're over there on the shelves.
yeah, and they're outdated after a while, and they don't actually allow the resale back.
So if a kid takes, just say, English 101, do you have a book for that? I know it's, eventually you'd have new books, but do other kids use those books? We
Yes.
reuse any of them?
They do. They
Okay.
use them until we've exhausted
Okay.
their shelf life.
Thank you.
Madam President, I move to approve the attached then and now.
Thank you. Second,
I'll second that.
any comments or questions? Roll call?
Mr. Kuya?
Yes.
Mr. Salazar?
Yes.
Mrs. Silich?
Yes.
Mrs. DeVarchi?
Yes.
And Mrs. Gilman?
Yes. Okay, we did your presentation.
Do that again.
Want to do it again?
Yeah.
I think not.
And I have some consent items.
Okay,
Treasurer. Two items I have under consent agenda tonight. I have the financial forecast approval, which has to be filed with the state by the end of February. I'm asking the board to approve the financial forecast, which is really you're approving this set of numbers. And most treasurers agree across the state that they're giving it their best effort, but they know updated forecast when it's coming. And I'm also asking the board to approve the January financial statements, that they're standard monthly statements I send out.
and those are both part of the consent agenda?
Yes, they are consent.
Okay, then we'll move on to number 10, superintendent recommendations.
Thank you, Mrs. Dunkelman, and thank you, everybody, for hanging with us. We know that it's the second month in a row that we've had a long board meeting, but we appreciate your time and your attention this evening. I have some non-consent agenda items for board's consideration tonight. All of these would require an individual action by the board, a motion by the board, and a vote. The first one is I'm asking for your approval of the contract with CT Taylor Construction for pre-construction services for our new master facility.
Motion, please. I so move. Second,
Second.
and any questions or comments?
I just want to make a statement that anything that we're doing towards the school, just got elected by the community. I'm the voice for the community. We voted down a new school 3 times, and this was not what our community wanted. So from now on, anything that you have to do with the school, we will be known.
I'd like to add a comment as well. I think we need to be clear on what was voted down in the community was an increase in taxes for 20 to 25 years. What we are doing is executing a smaller, efficient version of that plan through current funds that does not put an additional burden on the taxpayers. So I would say those situations are fundamentally different.
I disagree because we just saw that we're going to have to be having some talks about going back to the taxpayers.
Any other comments?
Guess we only need 4 scissors at the ribbon cutting.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. DeVarchi?
Yes.
Mr. Kuya?
Yes.
Mrs. Silich?
No.
Mr. Salazar?
Yes.
And Mrs. Gilman?
Yes.
Thank you. My next item for your consideration this evening is our resolution with GPD architect firm to approve the resolution authorizing GPD in an engineering contracting agreement to perform design services for our new high school and the renovation of the current Buckeye High School and turning it into a junior high and a middle school.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second,
I'll second.
questions or comments?
My comment with this is the 3 things that you are going to approve adds up to $8 million, a little over $8 million.
Any additional comments?
I think as we continue to build these facilities, I think anytime you're doing some of this prep work, just like you would build a house, right, you're going to have schematics, designs, instructions, those are all part of the budgeted that we have. So it's exciting to see us starting to move forward.
And then I would just add that the GPD contract, a standard contract like this is a certain percentage of the building cost. It's $4.7 million for this contract.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Kuya?
Yes.
Mrs. DeVarchi?
Yes.
Mrs. Silich?
No.
Mr. Salazar?
Yes.
And Mrs. Gilman?
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Next for your consideration is Brewitt Garrett Commissioning Agent Contract. This is to approve the attached resolution authorizing an agreement between the district and Brewitt Garrett Company to perform the commissioning. This is the testing and balancing services for when we will open up the new high school. Mark, you've got an expertise in this area. If you don't mind, can I defer to you to explain commissioning a little bit?
It's an engineering firm who comes in to make sure all the mechanical systems that are very sensitive are working according to manufactured specs. The testing and balancing It's basically making sure the air that they pull from the outside, because they're required to pull so much outside air, balances with the air they're exhausting through the vents. If you've ever gone into a building, pulled on a door, you can't pull it open because it's sucking the door in, you got a negative balance to the building. Or if you try to pull the door open, it flies open in your face, it's a positive balance. Too much air has got to get out of the building. The company makes sure that it's also good for our utility costs, and make sure we're not overspending on utilities, to make sure our building is balanced and all the mechanical equipment there are working according to manufacturing specs. And this service is done by per square foot cost assigned by the OFCC. It's not really a negotiated rate, it's something that goes along with the project, and it's included with the budget.
Motion, please.
Also move.
I will second it.
Okay.
Questions, comments?
Mark, as we look at this contract, who will Brewer Garrett kind of report to?
We have the contract that report to us, so John Justice, Jeff Stanton, myself will work with them. It's important that we hold the contract, so they're not beholden to the construction manager, and the construction manager tell them, don't point that out, just let it go. We want them to point stuff out on us. And that's why we're contracting with them now, because they're involved with the design, along with the construction manager and architect. They all work together to make sure the building has got a really good design from the start to the finish.
So it says in the contract that they'll be a part of the design process and they'll be on site during construction. That's accurate?
Yeah, and it's not 24/7. They might be here one day a week, based on the schedule, what's going in. If they're pouring concrete, maybe they're out here to test, there's other testing companies, but if they're putting in mechanical equipment, they gotta make sure it's put in right. I've heard stories of pieces of equipment turned in, they're backwards and it doesn't run right, or they leave it wrapped in plastic or something. That's why a commissioning agent is important to have on your job.
And are they just for HVAC?
It's other mechanical systems too. I think life safety, some of the kitchen equipment, they get involved with the engineering specs of all the new equipment, because as things are brought in and they're jostled around and they're dropped off, maybe they're not calibrated exactly where they're supposed to. So when they get installed, they make sure things are working the way they're supposed to. It helps us on our energy.
I had a comment to that for Mr. Kuyat's question as well. The school district also has made a decision years ago now at this point to work with an owner's agent. We have an owner's agent from Westfield Consulting that's been working with us throughout this entire project. That will continue, and that's another resource or safety net to make certain that this project is done the right way.
Thank you.
Any other comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mrs. Dunkelman.
Yes.
Mrs. Bavarchi.
Yes.
Mrs. Cicilich.
No.
And Mr. Kuyat.
Yes.
Thank you. And my last item, non-consent for your consideration tonight, we talked about it earlier in the meeting because we added it to the agenda. It is the ELP agreement. This is to approve the agreement between the Buckeye Local Schools and the Ohio Facilities Construction Commission to partner with the construction of our new high school. So that is for your consideration tonight. And again, I want to mention again something that I mentioned in my presentation. Remember that with GPD, one of their main principles was the lead for the OFCC for years. So I feel very good that the OFCC work in the ELP agreement, we have the right information and the right agreement for our school district.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Second.
I'll second.
Questions, comments?
I do have a question. Can you explain why the ELP agreement is so different than kind of the modified plan? And I know Joe DeMario from OFCC has explained this to us, but can you just explain how the facilities master plan was created and how we're allowed to adjust it?
The ELP agreement, many schools build with the OFCC on what they call CFAC. Your number comes up on the equity list, and now you get the money, like say it's 60-40 and you're building a $50 million building, they give you $20 million, you get your 60 or 30 million, you got your budget. In ELP, it's expedited local partnership, where we fund the entire bill, and when our number comes up later, 5, 10, 12 years later, whatever, then we qualify for our CFAP money at that point. But it's important to get our ELP agreement approved as soon as possible, because the dollars we spend under the ELP agreement are reimbursable. Dollars we spend before that's approved by the commission are not reimbursable. So we want to get it approved as soon as possible so we can qualify for our 19% coupon and get $10 million, $12 million back from the state.
Can we explain just the verbiage in the ELP agreement as a shared middle school, high school compared to the plan that we're doing now?
The way the state looks at us, because we have 2,000 kids, it's a rough rule of thumb. They say, in their mind, we're a 2-building district. Their agreement might say high school, junior high. We're building a high school. That's what we're doing. We have this building to serve as our middle school for 20 years ago. So we're going to build the high school and get that piece of the puzzle taken care of and take good care of this building. Their terminology is their terminology. I can't make them change it, but we're building a high school.
I mean, my understanding also was the original ELP agreement was created in 1999. It was signed by Judy Rundle and Craig Bailey. That ELP agreement, which we are still operating under, cannot be modified. It can be amended, but it cannot, the master's facility plan that was created 26 years ago, we are still operating under that initial agreement. That's why we still have a reimbursement of about $1.2 million that the state still owes us for building that school. So when we talk about why doesn't the ELP agreement read like the current plan, that's because we're operating under an agreement that was drafted 26 years ago. And this OFCC allows us to finish the next portion of the project, which in their eyes is building a new high school. We then become eligible to request the full 19% reimbursement. When you add the elementary school build from 25 years ago, plus this upcoming build, our reimbursement from the state will be around $13 to $14 million. It's the same program Cloverleaf is in, and they are getting their reimbursement this year, 3 years after the completion of their building. And from our conversations with the OFCC, that timeline appears to be kind of the new trend. So we in hope will get $14 million, roughly 3 to 5 years after the ribbon cutting of the new high school, which will then we can use to pay off the rest of the COPS loan, which is about $23 million. I mean, I've summarized a lot of the conversations we've had in the fall about the COPS loan and how ELP will help us pay that off.
So for myself, I've never been through the ELP agreement. I know you guys have. I know you guys have history with that. As a new board member, I would have, it's 102 pages. I would have appreciated sitting down. We just had a finance committee, and I know it wasn't here yet. It came yesterday.
3 o'clock yesterday.
It came yesterday. We're agreeing on it today. 102 pages. It includes lines that have absolutely no figures in it. It's the LFIs, which are our locally funded LFIs, which are locally funded initiatives, which means anything we want to put in there that the state's not going to give us any reimbursement for, that should be on there. It should be listed on there. I'm just amazed that a president of a company and the vice president of a company are signing something that it's completely open. It has absolutely no, like the last one had everything written out. This one is just completely open just because you want to rush it through instead of sitting back, waiting another month, and working through it all.
I can sit down and explain this to you, but I don't think this is probably the time. But a lot of those NELFIs are not known now. We haven't designed the building yet. They can't fill it in. But I'd love to sit down with you and go over it.
But the LFIs were for the last one, when we went out for the bond. That's the ELF that we were working on.
They might have had building design, I don't know. But we don't have this building design. There's reasons for those being blank, and they will be filled in over time as the building design and the cost become known, and then the numbers and the percentage we're getting back is all known. There's a lot that's unknown until we get close to completion.
Right, but what I'm saying is we're signing a blank paper, we don't know what the costs are.
But this is for the reimbursement from the state.
We're not signing to spend money with the state. We're signing to partner with the state for roughly $10 to $12 million or $13 million off of the price of this building. Otherwise, we build it all ourselves and get no reimbursement.
And I will say, of the 102-page document, 52 pages of them is a, I guess it would be called an enrollment study. So the agreement with the state is 48 pages, and then 52 pages of that roughly is an enrollment study that was done in November of 2025. Very interesting study. The ELP agreement has many eyes and hands that have been a part of the creation of this ELP agreement and the adjustments to this ELP agreement over the last 24 months. So I do understand that some haven't read the ELP agreement, but some of us have also read the ELP agreement dozens of times over the last 36 months. And we've had numerous conversations with the OFCC over phone calls, face-to-face, virtual. So this is an extremely well thought out document, and all of my questions have been answered over the last 24 months, and I have asked a lot of questions about the ELP agreement because it is not an easy to understand process that the state uses. So I'm full support of this.
But from a high level, right, our plan is separate from the agreement. The plan is what we control with the building, with the design, what we're going through with the visioning. What we're looking at here is how do we get reimbursed at 19%? And if we end up putting in an extra toilet here or there, that's not in the plan because the building hasn't been designed.
Correct. And the OFCC is well aware of our plan. I mean, they are well aware that we're partnering with GPD, that CT tailors the bill. We've done a great job communicating with the OFCC.
And I just want to mention, we have some experts who do this every single day, who have done this plan for us. So I feel comfortable about it.
I just want to mention that all four of you have been involved in this whole process, sitting in the meetings through day one. I have had nothing, and I've not been invited to anything either, so that's my perspective. That's where I'm coming from.
Any other questions or comments? Roll call?
Mr. Kuya,
Yes.
Mr. Salazar,
Yes.
Mrs. Silich,
No.
Mrs. Bavarchi,
Yes.
Mrs. Gunkelman.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Let's move to action items under consent, under my category. I appreciate, again. So we'll move through these ones a little bit quicker because they don't need individual votes. These will be consent items. First, I'm asking you to approve our agreement from CCP College Credit Plus Memorandums of Understanding between us and Cuyahoga County Community College, as well as Lorraine County Community College for the 26-27 school year. Next, I would ask you to approve the agreement for our Buckeye Intermediate students and staff to once again participate in our outdoor education program, Camp Newhoff, that will take place October 28th through 30th next October. We are all grateful that that doesn't coincide once again with Halloween. I heard you loud and clear there, Ms. Dahl and Mr. Wilson. Okay, it was a quirk of the calendar last fall, but a great trip nonetheless. Okay. Next, I would ask for your consideration for an approval of the MOU between us, this school district, and our OPSI, OPSI 216, that is our OPSI group here. This is the item that we have talked about at previous meetings. This is to add compensation to our bus drivers effective February 1st. A quick reminder of what this is. This will raise our bus driver rate from 1.344 to 1.594 on our salary grids 153 and 1802. What this means in layman's terms is our bus driver's rate will go from $19.99 to $23.80 an hour to $22.49 to $26.80 an hour. We've had a lot of discussion over this over the last few months. Our OPSI membership approved it and is here this evening for your consideration. After that, I ask you to consider the Johnston's agreement with us in Buckeye High School for our yearbooks. The cost next year for yearbooks will be $75 per book per student. We move into personnel. You see some salary advancements. Again, I'm always a big fan of this because this means our teachers are continuing their professional development as teachers, and that's always good for them and good for our students. So you see those adjustments here. We have some FMLA leaves that are upcoming. We also have an amended FMLA there for one of our teachers you see, which is item number 3. Continuing on under staffing, we have an amended, we have a recommendation for an unpaid medical leave for a second grade teacher there that will take place here this spring for the remainder of the school year. We have some extended hours for some additional need for support for a special education student that you see there. That will take place from January 28th through March 6th of this year. As always, we have a list of substitutes through our partnership with Medina County ESC. Let's move to classified personnel there, our OPSI members there. We're very happy that Ms. Gimney, our junior high school head custodian, has returned to work, so we're glad that she's back. We also have some employment. These were the additions to the agenda that I asked for earlier in the meeting. We have a new bus driver, Mr. Galden, will be joining us effective February 17th, so we found a bus driver, happy about that. And Ms. Salutrick will join us as a paraprofessional working at the intermediate building pending your approval this evening. It is almost springtime, and we were all very happy with the warm weather today. I made a joke. I was in my car going to the Career Center this afternoon, and my temperature gauge said 50. I didn't know what to do. I thought it was a mistake, but it felt good to have some heat out there. But as we are getting into the spring, you see some recommendations from an athletic perspective for some coaches. We also have a correction here. You see a fall coach there for soccer, Mr. Widows. Mike was a coach for us this fall. He was a boys varsity assistant soccer coach, and it was missed. I don't know how it was missed. We don't know why it was missed. Mr. Myers, myself, Mr. Donnelly found out about it. Actually, Mike reached out to us and said, hey, why haven't I been paid yet? And that shouldn't have happened. So I asked for your consideration. Mike's a great guy and a great coach, and he was very understanding, but we need to get him paid. So I asked for your consideration so we can pay Mike. We've got some donations for your consideration tonight. Thank you for the Fraternal Order of Eagles here in Medina, Troop 2224. A $2,000 donation to the High School Key Club food pantry. We have a $250 donation from Evan Becker on behalf of Sherwood Williams for supplies for the Buckeye Primary School. We also have a donation of $200 for the Medina County Bar Association for the mock trial team registration, which we appreciate from the Bar Association. And that is going to be my recommendation this evening, Mrs. Hall.
Thank you. So we're seeking approval of the consent agenda now, which consists of agenda items 9A and B, which were two of the treasurer items, and 11A through G. May I have a motion, please?
Also move.
And a second from Seth?
Yep.
Any questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mr. Kuyan.
Yes.
Mrs. Casilich.
Yes.
Mrs. Pafarchi.
Yes.
And Mrs. Coleman.
Yes. At this time in the meeting, we have some time for board member comments. Is there anyone who would like to start this evening?
Well, I don't really have a comment. I just wanted to ask Mr. Stanton just quickly, how did the Leadership Medina County Education?
Oh, yeah. Oh, Mr. Porch,
Today.
nice. Oh,
We
wow.
hosted it, right?
We did, yeah. So
Nice.
thank you. I should have mentioned that. Wow, what an exciting day on campus. Leadership Medina County was here at Buckeye. That is a great group of young leaders and very, very tuned in with Medina County growth. They spent the day here at Buckeye. So this morning we started at the high school. We had a breakfast. Greg and his crew threw a breakfast out there. And then after that, we went about, I would say 40 to 45 people or so were here this morning. We walked up to the elementary school, so thank you, Mrs. Rivera, thank you, Mr. Woolston, for allowing your students to help us, because the sixth grade ambassadors were helping. And then a succession of Mr. Snook, our high school principal, Mrs. Elias, Mrs. Kashanik, Mr. Justice, Mr. Donnelly, and myself had presentations for the leadership of Medina County. Our theme was culture building through leading with yes. Okay, making decisions for an organization through the lens of hoping to lead through yes. And Adam and everybody else did a great presentation. I even had a couple compliments from mine. So it was a really neat experience. After that, Leadership Medina County goes to the Career Center. There was a financial update given by Dr. Velasco and by Dr. Villas from Cloverleaf and from the ESC respectively. And then the rest of the day is a roundtable with superintendents, all the superintendents from the county. We're up at the Career Center until about 4:30 this afternoon. So it really was a wonderful day. So thank you. I'm remiss for not having brought that up.
No, that's exciting.
But it was exciting and a nice reflection of the Buckeye schools, our students and staff, and really outstanding job by the administrative team and their presentation.
I'm an alumni of that association, and Leadership Medina County is just a wonderful, wonderful thing.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else?
I just want to say thanks to OPSI for having a healthy discussion and for voting to allow the school district to increase the pay for the bus drivers. I know it's something that we've been trying to do, and I just really appreciate it. I know it wasn't an easy decision, but thank you to OPSI for making that decision.
I'd like to echo that, Seth was going my but no, certainly appreciate the flexibility from OC. I think the team working together to improve the compensation for the transportation, which is our biggest issue that we're facing right now, so certainly appreciate that.
Okay, anything?
I just want to say thank you for everybody for sitting through another meeting like this, long meeting. Thank you to our bus drivers, we do appreciate you. It's a job, once again, I would say, nothing that I would ever want to do, but we do appreciate you guys out there at 6 a.m. in the ice and snow and everything. Everybody have a good night.
All right, having no more comments, then we will entertain a motion for adjournment.
I'll second that.
I'm not going to ask for comments or discussion on adjournment, so roll call, please.
Mr. Kuyan.
Yes.
Mr. Salazar.
Yes.
Mrs. Village.
Yes.
Mrs. DeMarchi.
Yes.
Mrs. Duncan.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.